Hi everyone. In today's topic, we'll be discussing the Daikin multi-zoning kit. In this topic, we'll be looking at the following: the main components, the integration, the Plenum components, assembly of the multi-zoning kit, and lastly, we'll discuss the remote controllers. Main components. Basically, we have four main components: the inverter ducted unit, the motorized Plenum, the main thermostats, and the zone thermostats. Now, the motorized Plenum is fitted onto inverter ducted unit. We have up to 8 zones, which are controlled using the main thermostats, which is located in the main room. And you have individual thermostats for each zone. Let's now look at the integration of the Daikin multi-zoning kit. When none of the zones is calling for heating or cooling, the system can be off. When zone 1 is calling for heating at 20 degrees Celsius, the damper for zone 1 will open and the rest of the dampers will stay in a closed position. When zone 4 it's calling for heating at 20 degrees Celsius, the damper for zone 4 will also open and the remaining dampers will stay in a closed position. When zone 2 it's calling for heating at 21 degrees Celsius, the damper for zone 2 will then open and only zone 3 will remain closed. Now, as you can see, for the heating mode, the inverter ducted unit will select the highest temperature, and in this case will be the 21 degrees Celsius. In the cooling mode, the inverter ducted unit will select the lowest temperature, and in this case will be the 19 degrees Celsius. When the zone reaches the required temperatures, the compressor of the ducted unit then switches off, thanks to the Daikin high efficiency inverter units. Now let's look at the Plenum components. The Plenum is a plug-and-play device, which is tailor-made to perfectly fit to the Daikin inverter ducted unit. You can have options from 2 to 8 dampers per Plenum. This also depends on the size of the Daikin inverter unit. The Plenum comes standard with a factory-fitted motorized dampers, which are 150 to 200 in diameter supplier. You also have the electronic panel, and you also have the fresh air inlet. The standard Plenum can be used with a Daikin Sky Air inverter, ranging from 3.5 kilowatt to 14 kilowatt of total cooling capacity. It can also be used with the VRV inverter ducted units, ranging from 1.5 kilowatt to 14 kilowatt of total cooling capacity. For a Sky Air, you can get sizes from small to large. And for the VRV, you get from extra small to extra large. Now, the physical size depends on the inverter ducted unit sizes, and of course, the number of dampers. The Plenum can also be used with the Daikin Slim inverter ducted unit, and the sizes are from small to large. Let's now look at the attaching the Plenum to the AC unit. Firstly, you must place the Plenum to the supply side of the Daikin indoor unit and fix it using the screws. Secondly, the Plenum and the indoor unit connection must be insulated to prevent condensation. This can be done using the glass wool or polyethylene foam, and the thickness thereof should be 25 mil. Then lastly, the Plenum fix the plenum to the ceiling using the threaded rods. Something important to note, it is recommended to insulate all metal parts that are exposed to the ambient conditions. This is in order to prevent condensation. Now, installing the bypass damper. First, remove the pre-cut area of the bypass damper. Now, the pre-cut area is located on the side of the plenum above the fresh air intake. Number 2, remove the insulation that covers the area of the bypass damper. Now, after removing the insulation, feed the bypass damper into the slot and rotate it clockwise until it stops. Then lastly, fix the bypass damper onto the plenum by using a self-drilling screw. Installing the fresh air intake. First, remove the neck of the fresh air intake by unscrewing it from the plenum. Then, remove the protection plate that covers the air intake and reattach the neck of the fresh air intake. Note that the lids at the bottom of the pressure dampers must be cut to allow air to pass. The communication gateway enables the communication between the dampers and the Daikin units. That is the splits, the sky air, and the VRV. Now with this, you can be able to control the fan speed. You can also set temperatures, and you can change the modes. Let's now look at the 3 remote controllers. The blue face controller, it's a wired color touch display master unit, and it's used to configure the Daikin Multi zoning kit. It can also be used as a thermostat for one or for all the zones. Now with this remote controller, you can set the room temperatures. You can also have access to all other zones. You can also program and adjust the control functions of the room. The Think controller, it's a wireless touch display unit, and it is powered using batteries. This unit is used for one zone. You can't use it as a master. The light controller, you can only control the room temperature. Now, something to note, both the Think controller and the light controller are using radio communication. Now, let's look at the installation of these controllers. It is good practice to take note of the following. Make sure that the system is installed by a qualified technician. Make sure that all the power supply is switched off before any work can be done. Use your local electronic regulations when setting and connecting all the elements. When connecting elements of the system, please use the S-zone cable, which is a 4-wire shaded twisted cable. Be cautious not to connect the negative pole in the positive terminal. This might damage the device. Do not place the system bus close to power lines, the fluorescent lights, the motors, etc., etc. This might cause interference on communication. Let's move to wiring of the remote controls. Connect the control elements of the system in any of the 3 expansion bus terminals. The connection can be either in a bus connection or in a stack connection. Please follow the color code when wiring the remote controls. And then secure the wires using the threads provided. Things to take note of when done with wiring. It's firstly check if the wired and wireless remote controllers are powered. If everything works or doesn't work, the light thermostat LED will not blink until it's associated to a main control board. Make sure that the batteries are connected. Again, as a good practice, please make sure that the system is installed by a qualified technician. It is important to use your local electronic regulation when setting and connecting all elements. Make sure that all power supply is switched off before any work can be done. You then must locate the P1, P2 ports of the Daikin indoor unit. The communication gateway must be connected to the P1 and P2 ports of the Daikin unit using the twisted shielded cable supplied with the Ezone kit. Then you need to configure the macro switches as required. Power both the Daikin indoor unit and the Ezone system. Now, something to take note of. Please disable the standby function. This can be done using the Daikin controller. With all the connections being done, the Daikin multi-zoning kit is ready to go. And of course, this brings us to the end of our topic. Hope you enjoyed. Any questions, please put it on the inbox. And of course, we'll then try by all means to answer your questions. If not, then we'll reply to your email with the answers. Thank you very much.